Hello, everybody.
Hello there.
Happy Tuesday live stream day.
Yes, one before Christmas. So probably the last live stream of the year.
Yeah, that's crazy. We've got content coming up over Christmas. Actually, some really fun content. So be sure to stick around for it. But today, for the last live stream of the year, we are actually, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're covering list building in the new edition.
Yes, kind of going through the army builds, the legions you can have now, and just see what we think, see what's good, see what seems playable, rubbish, just not even worth opening to.
Yeah. And also how it differs from the previous edition, right? Because if you look at any feedback from the new edition and the changes that have been made, I think probably the biggest and most controversial topic is list building. So we'll look at what's changed, if it's better, if it's worse, and how we feel about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so do we just jump straight in?
I don't know, is anyone even here?
We got 15 people watching. We got some commenters.
Hey.
Commissar, what's up? Bobby, Nils, thanks for tuning in. I guess chat, before we get in, have any of you actually played any games in the new edition yet? Have you built lists? Have you had experience with this yet? Because that could, make for some interesting conversation later on.
I built so many lists.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I find it so much fun building lists.
It's like, I get what you're saying, but because of the changes, it's different. Like I love list building. It's just very different now.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hasn't affected me too much yet. I mean, still waiting for a whole new book, of course, but
yeah.
I
can't tell you the amount of times I've seen on forums and Reddit and Facebook groups, people kicking off. Every single day this happens, every day. Something like, I can't believe what GW have done. My only army that I have is a Khazad-dûm army, or it's an Eastland army. I can no longer play it. I can't believe it. And then all the comments just like, yo, there's another book coming.
Yeah.
A Khazad-dûm as an army shown in the movies? No. These are the movies books. The non-movies book is coming. So if you didn't know that, don't be one of those guys that post for the 1000th time the same thing. There is another army list book on its way.
But still, when is it coming?
Yeah, when is it coming? That's the question we should be asking. Yes. All right then, so how has list building changed? What's the biggest difference?
It's just less options, I guess, is the obvious one.
Yeah. The main thing, the big difference is the alliance chart.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yes.
No more allying. It's no longer an option. So what you have is what you have, whether it be fellowship or, moments in the movie rather than armies is how they've done it. But outside of that, nothing. You cannot add Boromir into a Rivendell army. You just can't do it.
No.
Which is less fun, in my opinion.
Yeah. I find it strange that they've completely got rid of it and that it's not just, you just lose all army bonuses and suck it up. But to just go, it's just not possible. That's such a strange one. I get if they wanted to reward people who did the movie moments more, like with Legendary Legions were anyway. It was kind of, it wasn't broke, so why fix it?
Yeah, I'm personally a big fan of Legendary Legions, and when they brought this into the game, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And when possible, I probably did prefer to choose a Legendary Legion when building a list over standard list building. But I don't see the need to take away the alliance chart. I don't see why you, like you said, if you want to just ally and do things, just remove army bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe at some point, perhaps with the match play guide, they'll bring back in, and it only takes a page of, also for competitive play, you can list build like this, and here's your alliance chart and your army bonus scheme. Just do it like that. So there's still hope that they could maybe make changes, but we've got what we've got, and we'll go through all of the available lists for Lord of the Rings today.
Yes.
And so that's something we haven't mentioned. Today we're just covering Lord of the Rings armies, okay?
Yeah.
What's going on, chat? The beards are looking good this morning. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it. Even the grey patch. Okay, Paul, what's going on, dude? I feel like picking an army is really hard in this edition, or complicated. It's not complicated. I think it's hard to pick because there's so many moments, as in, if you want to pick a Rohan army, you have multiple moments that Rohan are involved with.
But then I feel like once you know who you want your leader to be, then you it's pretty much, you're going. There's a direction to go once you pick that, I think.
But as an example, I really wanted to do a list built around the new Helm.
Yep.
Because it's cool. But in the Legion, that Helm cannot have a warband.
No.
Which means then you have to have he's an expensive hero, and you have to have a bunch of other heroes to be able to have the warriors or the riders or whatever to pack out your army. But then you can't because you've got a really expensive hero. Sorry, James, am I boring you? You've got a really expensive hero that can't lead any warriors. So in that sense, it is very, it's not that simple. It's just a lot more limited. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It is. There's no and ifs or buts. It's limited, unfortunately. I definitely lean towards getting a whole new army, just have no idea what, said Paul. Yeah, we're quite fortunate that we have so much choice.
But then everything we're like, ooh, we won't try that. We go, no, we don't have it. We have a lot of unpainted stuff.
Yeah.
But in actual, like, prepared armies for battle reports, it's another question.
Yes.
And also trying to decide what we want to play in the next tournament is tough. I mean, I know what I want to play. I've just got to wait for a certain book.
That's going to be a recurring theme throughout this video.
Yeah.
I think I've decided on my list for the new tournament.
Are you revealing?
Yeah, I'm going to be that guy that's like, ooh, new movie, new characters. And I'm going to play Rohan. And I'm going to play it based around the new characters.
Okay.
I've never played a tournament or anything with Rohan. I've not played Rohan a lot until the new edition. And at the moment, I'm enjoying them.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to give them a run in the tournament, see how they go. Let's delve into some lists, shall we? Now, we do have a second camera, so we can kind of share what we're showing with you guys. But it is a little bit awkward because I have to kind of turn and twist it from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
The camera's over there. So it's a bit awkward. Jack's so slow. Look at, we're testing Jack's reflexes. Okay. Right. We start off then. You're not quick enough, Jack. We start off with the Fellowship.
Yes.
So this is a pretty cool list. However, if Dirtnap Films is watching, or watches at any point, probably won't.
Who?
Exactly. He ran this list pretty much in the recent tournament, and it goes to show that lists that are hero exclusive struggle competitively.
Yes, although he ran it at a 500-point
True.
tournament, and I think it's one of the, you need the whole one,
Yeah.
which I believe is it 650, 7?
It's around that, yeah.
Because this is the one, if I remember right, which randomly Boromir can have a horse, but nobody else can. Because you see him arrive. I can't even say you see him arriving when in the Fellowship, because you see Legolas arrive on a horse as well, and he can't have one. So, although there's no, I don't know. Yeah, I'm already, my head's hurting.
Yeah, so we don't need to talk about army composition and who's available for the Fellowship Army. You guys all already know that. They seem to have less special rules than they did in the previous edition, I think. I feel like in the last edition, every single hero in the Fellowship had its own rule, right?
Yes, and that was the... Was it
Breaking of the Fellowship.
Yeah.
Okay, the Breaking of the Fellowship is still its own one. Ignore me.
Yeah, but this is one with Gandalf in as well now, which is the difference.
Yeah, so the special rules for this army, so long as Frodo is alive and on the battlefield, friendly Fellowship models gain the Fearless special rule. They also will never be considered broken whilst Frodo is alive, so pretty useful. They also, friendly models within 3 inches of other Fellowship models get to re-roll failed to wound rolls when making strikes. That's a big one. That's a huge, huge rule. The last one then is friendly Fellowship models gain the Woodland Creature and Mountain Dweller special rules.
Nice.
If anybody has any specific questions about keywords or rules that we mention in this video, we've also got the rule book in front of us, so we're more than happy to give you a full description of that.
Yes.
So that's the Fellowship list. Thoughts on that?
Like you say, it's just very hero heavy. It'll be fun for scenarios, not necessarily the tournament play. Although, yeah, it'd be fun. I just don't think it would do that well.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to half keep an eye on the chat at the same time. So the next list then. Jack, on the ball. Come on. So this list, I think, is a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's very different. I feel like it tickles your fancy a little bit.
Maybe.
Why did that sound so rude?
Yes, no, it's definitely one that I'm Sorry, can't read like that. Yeah, definitely one I really like. I just love the idea of Gandalf's cart now.
Yeah, it's great.
Because they've added some stuff to it in this, and it makes it quite fun. And I do think, realistically, to have any kind of Hobbit list, you do want a Gandalf with it to make it kind of viable. But yeah, so as for the Shire then, you kind of get a mixture of Gandalf the Grey with his cart. You could have the old Bilbo, Frodo, Sam, Hamfast Gamgee, Farmer Maggot, Merry, Pippin, Rosie Cotton, and Lobelia Sackville Baggins, which is an interesting mix of people.
Yeah, it is.
For their additional rules, when writing an army list for the Shire, if the army contains only hero models, a player can either have models in a single warband or multiple in smaller warbands. Yeah, guess that works for some stuff. So in this list, Bilbo carries the One Ring, not Frodo. And friendly models may reroll failed courage tests. Additionally, friendly models cannot have their courage tests reduced by special rules or magical powers of enemy models, because hobbits be resistant.
They do.
You also get the Grey Wizard special rule, so friendly models may benefit from Gandalf's Stand Fast. Additionally, Gandalf may use 2 fireworks each shoot phase rather than 1, though they must be different fireworks and must target different models. Again, that comes down to his cart and its cool rules. And then finally, they also have the a long expected party, where friendly models will pass a fate roll on a 3+ rather than a 4+, and friendly models may reroll failed fate rolls. So they're hard to kill.
That's really cool.
That is.
I don't really get why that rule is called a long expected party.
Because they're all so drunk, they don't feel pain, so they just don't take the wounds.
The expected party makes you hard to kill.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I like this list. I don't think it's particularly great competitively. However, the fact that fireworks are used as weapons, magical fireworks, I think is really cool. Really fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you could at least boost it up with either potentially some Dunedain or just some standard Hobbit warriors.
No, Dunedain suck now.
Yeah, but just some standard Hobbit warriors would be very handy.
Yeah.
The fact that it's just heroes is... Nah, man. That's the problem with
They're
it.
sticking with what they said they were doing, and that's that thematic, cinematic, themey type army.
Which is kind of right, but this doesn't happen.
No, it's true.
There's no point where all these people are on screen together.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you don't even see Farmer Maggot. You see his scythe poking above the weeds.
Yeah.
So you kind of you pick and choose a bit. That's what they've done. And
they are very picky choosy.
Yeah.
Like Farmer Maggot, like you say, is not really in the movies. Grimbold has been removed from the game. Yeah, difficult one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's...
When are you starting this list, James?
When a certain book comes out. I will definitely try it at some point, but yeah, I needed something with actual standard hobbits as well, not just heroes.
Okay. The next one then, I don't want to say similar, but we're kind of sticking with the Fellowship Hobbity type theme for now. And this one is Road to Rivendell. So quite a cool list. We get the addition here of Arwen and her horse. Unfortunately, if this was book-based, this list would include Glorfindel.
Yes, but this is Film Arwen, who is incredible.
True.
And she can sneak up on Aragorn. So she's basically a ninja.
Dunedain. So this one can include Aragorn, the Strider version, obviously. Frodo with Mithril Coat and Sting. Should he have those at this point?
No.
Samwise Gamgee, Arwen, obviously, Barlamin Butterbur, Merry Brandybuck, Peregrine Took, Bill the Pony, and the Gatekeeper of Bree. Super, super random combination of characters there.
Didn't the Gatekeeper have a name? Didn't he have a name in the last one?
I can't remember.
Am I misremembering that?
I'm not sure. Chat, anyone know?
I mean, the book's down there, I just can't bother to get it.
Anyway, the rules state that the army must include Frodo, so you cannot build this list without including Frodo, which is a shame. And when writing a Road to Rivendell army list, a player can either have all models in a single warband or as multiple smaller warbands as normal. Okay, so the one unique thing about this is they can all be together. Fair enough. Special rules then, Aragorn may declare a heroic march each turn for free. Nice. Additionally, friendly models that begin their activation within 6 of Aragorn gain the Woodland Creature special rule until the end of the turn.
Cool.
So his heroic march. What's heroic march in this edition?
3.
It's just 3 inches.
I will double check. I don't think that one changed.
I was just thinking whether hobbits can actually do the full march. You know what I mean?
I think they can.
Okay.
I think it's just infantry get 3.
I'm
which for them, that's massive for them, because
Yeah.
they can only move 4 normally.
Yeah. I'm the faster rider, I'll take him, is if your army includes both Frodo and Arwen, then Frodo may begin the game as a passenger upon Asphaleth. Whilst Frodo is mounted on Asphaleth, Arwen gains the resistant to magic special rule, increases her attacks characteristic to 3, which is pretty good, and can spend Frodo's might, will, and fate points as if they were her own. Frodo cannot put the ring on if he's a passenger. Okay, that could be a very useful rule. If you want him, come and claim him. While she's within 6 inches of Frodo, including if he's a passenger on Asphaleth, Arwen gains the Fearless special rule and may re-roll dice when casting spells. And finally, the last special rule is Cover of Night. At the start of each game, using this army list, you may choose for the scenario to take place at night if you wish. If you do, then at the start of the move phase, you may choose whether or not the Gatekeeper of Bree, a light in the dark special rule, is in effect or not. Whatever that may be.
Okay, yeah. It's a bit of a boring list, not gonna lie.
It is a bit of a bonus, yeah.
I don't see anyone bringing this to a tournament
No.
somehow. I barely see it being used in scenarios. That's just very specific, but this feels like a waste.
Yeah.
It feels like they really could have put something else instead of one of these.
This is one of those where they've gone, we need to give them as much choice as we can.
Yeah.
We could kind of stretch to making a list out of this because it's a few linked moments in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
I mean, I know there was a massive crowd asking for Barlam and Butterbur to be in every list possible, so they had to give something, but...
Yeah. Got to please the majorities. Yeah, I'm not going to use that list.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, this is a more interesting one, and obviously it's one that was a Legion before.
It was a Legion before, but there is an addition to it.
Yep. Okay, so with the breaking of the Fellowship, again, pretty obvious who you can have. I mean, Boromir can't have his horse anymore, although you can now have Haldir with them, as well as Lothlorien warriors.
So that's a big addition. This is essentially, ironically, they talk about moments in the movies. This is a deleted scene moment. So those of you that don't know, there is a moment that was deleted from the movies where the Fellowship enter Lothlorien and are attacked by goblins from Moria.
But then they put the picture at Amon-Hen.
They do indeed. That picture is very clearly Amon-Hen.
Yeah, which is when the Fellowship breaks.
Yes.
But it's not the moment they've included the characters from. So, like my lore head here is just going like, what? I'm confused. But yes, they basically just tried to make it so you can have a different Fellowship with some additions.
They're stretching these moments out, I think. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, these characters are involved here, and then some of them are involved here, so let's just, they're stretched in.
Yeah.
All right, why is this fun?
Okay, so the additional rules for these guys are, firstly, you must have Aragorn as the general. All Fellowship models must be in Aragorn's warband, and Lothlorien warriors can only be led by Haldir. Those
sense.
are kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But they all get, the Fellowship get the gifts of Galadriel, so each of them has something unique. So, Frodo has the Light of Earendel, so at the start of each of his activations, Frodo may roll a d6, and on a 3+, Frodo counts as having cast the Blinding Light magical power, which could be very handy. Sam has Elven Rope, so he always counts as rolling a 6 on any climb, leap, or jump test. Merry and Pippin have Daggers of the Noldorin, which are Elven hand weapons, and whilst wielding these weapons, Merry and Pippin may reroll failed to wound rolls when making strikes. Then we got Aragorn, who has an Elven Dagger, which is an Elven hand weapon, with the Uruk-hai Bane special rule. They missed a space in that. Uruk-hai Bane.
Oh, yeah.
Legolas has the Bow of the Galadrim, so whilst within 3 inches of friendly Lothlorien models, Legolas may re-roll failed to hit rolls when making shooting attacks, which is almost pointless when he hits on a 2 anyway, but it basically means it's, again, almost impossible to miss with Legolas. Then we have Gimli, who has Galadriel's locks. So Gimli may use this war gear to re-roll a single d6 in a dual roll. Gimli may only use this war gear 3 times during the course of the game. And Boromir gets his golden belt, so he gains the woodland creature special roll, because that's what belts do.
Yeah, sure.
So that's something unique and different for each member of the Fellowship. But as well as that, you have the You Have My Sword special rule. So as long as Frodo is alive and on the battlefield, friendly Fellowship models gain the Fearless special rule. Additionally, a break-in of the Fellowship army can never be considered broken whilst Frodo is alive, even if he escapes the battlefield in scenarios where this applies. Then, we still got 2 more to go. Blessing of Galadriel, so friendly models count as being under the effects of Fortify Spirit magical power, even if they have no will points remaining. And Shielded from Unfriendly Eyes basically means friendly hero models gain an Elven Cloak for free. And Elven Cloaks are better now.
They have improved, yeah. What is it, -1 to hit as well?
Yes, -1 to hit when being shot at. So, yeah, that can get very handy. Yeah, really.
Just want to say, Will says, hello from a bath in Abergavenny. Hello, Will, in your bath. Thanks for that image. Yeah, so this list, I think it's one of the most rule-heavy lists in the game.
Yes.
And while it's kind of fun, it's still going to be very, very limited on its model count. At the end of the day, you have to have Aragorn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. But that's he's the only one you have to have. But he has 160 points.
I mean, basically, if I wanted to do this, I would just want to take out the hobbits, and then just have the rest. But like, if you want any elves, you've got to have Haldir, so that's already one you've got to have. But then if you have Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Boromir, what's that taking you to? Basically about 460, 470 points. Adding Haldir to that, you're already you're approaching 550.
Yeah.
Without any warriors, then you're only really getting a
4
few,
or 5, yeah.
If you go over 600 points, that is, of course. But
I think it's an improvement on the previous breaking of the Fellowship list, but it's still not really viable competitively. Right, before we move on to the Kingdom of Rohan and the list that are within Rohan, let's take a second to thank our first sponsor.
If you like the look of the dice we've been using here today and would like to get some for yourself, then be sure to head over to baronofdice.com. There you can pick up dice for whatever army it is you play, whether it be in Middle-earth, for 40k, Age of Sigmar, and more. Maybe you just need some D&D dice. Whatever you need, the Baron will have them. You can also order your own custom dice. If you pick anything up, be sure to use the code TTAlliance for 5% off your order. Thanks, as always, to Baron of Dice for the support.
okay, all done. So, was this your one? Yeah.
Is it? No, it's not. Kingdom of Rohan. So this, I feel, will probably be quite a popular one because it's essentially a generic Rohan one. Okay, I had a moment then. The picture just shows... No, it does have riders. Never mind, forget it. I panicked then. I thought it was a Rohan foot soldier only list. So this one is kind of your modern day, like Lord of the Rings storyline type Rohan army list. It includes Theoden, Theodred, Eomer, Hammer, Gamlin, Captain of Rohan, Eowyn, and then warriors, riders, and royal guard. So pretty much everything. The only thing that we've lost, obviously, with the updates in this edition are characters like Erkenbrand and Grimbold. And, King's Huntsman, cool characters like that. But overall, pretty generic Rohan list. Very few rules. Classic Riders of Rohan do not count towards the army's bow limit. Ride for Ruin in the World's Ending. Friendly cavalry models gain a bonus +1 to the strength in a turn in which they charge. And when rolling for their Horse Lord special rule, friendly models will pass the roll on a natural 5 rather than a natural 6. I think that rule is just if the horse loses a wound, basically gets like a 5-up feel no pain to ignore the wound. So pretty generic list, really. Nothing really stands out about this. It doesn't really tell me that it's a moment from the movies. You know, like what moment is this from when it can include Theodred, Theoden, Eomer?
This is like flashback time or something which doesn't really exist. So
again, it's like they can't make up their minds. What are they going for? Is it just moments from the movies, or is it like, oh, here's a generic list you can choose from? Make up your mind, Games Workshop. Road to Helm's Deep.
This is actually one of the ones that we, in our what we would like to see when we thought, just talking about legions, that we actually chose.
Yes, yeah.
So this is a very cool one. So basically, this is, in theory, the moment as they're making their way. You've got the 3 hunters on horseback, as well as getting, you know, your Theoden, Gamling and stuff, all with horses. Yes, Gamling does get a horse. Hammer doesn't get a horse, though. Poor Hammer. So, yeah, this is a cool one, and their additional rules are basically you must contain Theoden, And Riders of Rohan don't count towards bow limits, which is always so handy if available. And as for special rules, friendly Rohan cavalry models gain a bonus of +1 to their strength in a turn in which they charge. That's obviously very, very good. And Legolas and Gimli. So if your army contains both Legolas and Gimli, then Gimli will start the game as a passenger on Legolas's horse and will use the role for passengers. Whilst Gimli is mounted on Legolas's horse, Legolas increases his attacks to 3 and may use Gimli's might, will and fate as if it was his own, though he cannot use Gimli's might to improve, to hit, to wound, or in the way test when making a shooting attack. Additionally, if Gimli dismounts from Legolas's horse during Legolas's move, then after Legolas's activation has finished, Gimli may activate as normal, even though the rules for passengers would not normally allow him to do so. Whew, that was wordy. Now one more of back on your horses is at the end of a friendly infantry hero model's move, with the exception of Gimli, if they are in base contact with a friendly cavalry model who is not engaged in combat, then the warrior may give the hero their horse. Replace the warrior model with a suitable dismount and replace the hero with the mounted version of them. The warrior will be placed in the same place the hero was, and vice versa. If the hero would normally have a named horse, such as Snowmane or Brago, then they will only count as riding a standard horse after using this rule. So basically, you could remount heroes. Was a lot faster way of saying all of that.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, this is a cool one. Like, we were saying, it was the whole thing, our argument for, wasn't it? That we just like to have a 3 hunters mounted option in a list somewhere. And we got it with this. It makes sense. It's not going to be the best version, probably, that you're going to get with Riders of Rohan, but it's a fun one.
It is a fun one. We also don't have those models.
No, we don't. We don't have the mounted versions, no.
I think the only mounted Strider we have, or Aragorn we have, is the King.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Will says he'll be using the Break-In tonight. 450 points, Aragorn, Legolas, Haldir, and 11 Wood Elves. Is there no bow limit? Do they not count towards your bow limit? Did we miss that?
Oh, I didn't think about that, actually.
It doesn't say that.
Isn't that just standard then? Isn't just...
Yeah, how's bow limit work on that, Will? Curious, very curious. Okay, so that was Road to Helm's Deep. Moving on, we've got Defenders of Helm's Deep. This one is, as you'd expect, it's literally defending Helm's Deep, so you have access to pretty much everyone that's there. Theoden, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Haldir, Gamlen, captains, Galadrim captains, Aldor and Haleth, must-haves, and then Warriors of Rohan, Royal Guard, and Galadrim warriors. A Defender of Helm's Deep army must include Theoden, who is always the general, and only a maximum of 33% of the models in this army may have the Lothlorien keyword. So they're very much limiting the higher end warriors in this list, which is understandable, I guess.
Yep.
Now, the special rules. Allies till the end. Haldir treats both Aragorn and Theoden as a banner with a range of 6 inches. Additionally, whilst within 6 inches of either Aragorn or Theoden, he automatically passes all courage tests and may re-roll fail to wound rolls when making strikes. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So keep Haldir and Aragorn together. You're onto a winning combination right there. Fall back to the keep. If this army is broken, friendly warrior models gain a bonus of +1 to any courage tests they are required to take. Additionally, if this army is broken, friendly warrior models within 6 inches of Theoden may re-roll failed courage tests. Yeah, that's also pretty handy. And give them a volley. Friendly models increase the range of their shooting attacks by 6 inches, provided they have not moved. This special rule does not apply to throwing weapons.
Yeah, if you're taking those Galadrim warriors with bows,
Putting them on top of the wall.
putting them on the wall, getting 30-inch shot, strength 3 bow, hitting
Yeah.
on 3s, that's deadly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a cool one. And if you are ever going to play out the Siege of Helm's Deep from the 2 towers, yeah, that's fun. I like that.
I really like it. Will said 4 wood elf bows, 4 throwing daggers, 3 spear, Haldir, Legolas, and Aragorn with bow. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay.
When you said in your previous message, that's a lot of shots, I thought you meant you had 11 elf bows with shots. Thoughts on this list?
Yeah, kind of what you said. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I am a fan of this one. The rules are good without being over the top as well,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, they defend Helm's Deep and they don't really win.
No, they don't do great, really, do they?
This side of it actually kind of fails and they're about to die before they get saved.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be overpowered. But I think the kind of rules they got, like the additional range and shooting, in certain situations could be awesome.
Yeah, and it does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
This is an army that's defending the top of walls. Or even like the Lothlorien elves that are defending from the back. They're shooting up high, which does give them range. So they're all kind of, sensical rules. Yeah. It's a list that I was tempted by.
Yeah.
The problem is, I almost feel you have to have Aragorn on a list like this. But Aragorn is so point heavy. It's tough. It might be one that I try in the future though.
Okay.
Also, Rohan without cavalry. Risky.
Yeah, you're kind of hoping for the Elven warriors a lot more.
Yes. This one is cool.
Yes. Okay, so we move on a bit to Ride Out.
I'm purely doing this now just to test Jack's reflexes. It's like training at the same time, Jack. Go for it, James.
Okay, so Ride Out is obviously when they ride out of Helm's Deep at the end of Two Towers on their For Glory moment. So basically, again, you must contain Theoden and he must be the general. And Riders of Rohan, again, don't count towards the bow limit. Cool. So their special rules, they have 3. They have Now for Wrath, Now for Ruin, and the Red Dawn. When a friendly cavalry model moves, it must charge if able to do so. Additionally, on a turn in which it does charge, they get +1 to their strength and may reroll any ones during the duel roll. Yeah, that's all right. I mean, the +1 to strength is pretty standard with the Rohan riders, so yeah. So then you also get the Horn of Helm Hammerhand shall sound in the deep one last time. So once per game at the start of any move phase, you can declare that you are using this special rule, and until the end of the turn, friendly cavalry models gain the Terror special rule. And to be fair, this is one of those where I think maybe the now choosing priority makes a rule like this a lot more handy.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can maybe plan out when you're going to use it a little bit more now. And then the last one is for Death and Glory, so friendly models gain Fearless. Happy days.
I like this list, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Theoden,
it's essentially the option to have like a Rohirrim cavalry-only army with Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli, which is pretty...
No Gimli.
No Gimli, sorry. Aragorn and Legolas, which I think is great.
Yeah, Gimli's too busy blowing some horns.
Yeah. I did notice, by the way, that Twitch apparently has gone black.
Again.
Right, Jack?
Yeah.
I'm honestly wondering, and we talked about this last week, we stream at quite a high bit rate for YouTube, wondering if Twitch doesn't handle such high bit rates.
Yeah.
Maybe. Can't think what else it could possibly be.
Come over to YouTube.
Yeah, come and join us on YouTube if you're on Twitch. Don't know what else to say. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, big fan of this list.
Yeah, I mean, as we kind of go through, like a few of these Rohan lists will feel fairly similar.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Rohan, I like Riders. I'm all for it.
The only downside again, and this is a bit of a common theme going through this as well, very, very limited. That's a total of 7 options total. That's not a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But I guess that's kind of how legions are, even in the previous edition. They are limited moments from within the movies. Not as limited as this one. Next up, we have Riders of Eomer. So, again, moment from the movie. Jack's reflexes are getting slower. This is, of course, the moment where Gandalf arrives, they look to the east, and they see Gandalf not alone with Eomer, and they ride to the king. To the king! They have Eomer, Gandalf the White, Captain of Rohan, and Riders of Rohan. That's it. That's your entire list you can choose from. 4 options.
Like, I get that's bad, but if you want to run this as a thing,
Yeah.
what else are you really taking?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. Yeah. So, additional rules. Riders of Eomer must include Eomer, who's always the general, and Riders of Rohan do not count towards the bow limit. Fair enough. Look to the sun. Once per game at the start of any friendly activation phase, Gandalf can use this special rule so long as he is alive and on the battlefield. If he does, then until the end of the turn, enemy models engaged in combat with a friendly cavalry model that made a charge that turn, or supporting a combat against a friendly cavalry model that made a charge that turn, suffer a -1 penalty to their duel roll.
Okay.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, that's a good rule. I like that.
Yeah. Ride for Ruin in the World's Ending. Friendly Rohan cavalry models gain a +1 to their strength on a turn in which they charge. Standard Rohan cavalry rule. And to the king, Eomer may declare heroic combat each turn for free.
I mean, it would be interesting to see, like, I feel like you kind of got to take Gandalf if you do this list, but it would still be quite a brutal one without him,
Yeah.
Because, okay, yeah, you lose the one special rule because Gandalf can know it's Gandalf who can use it. But obviously, you're getting the +1 strength to charge, and Eomer's getting a free heroic combat every turn.
Yeah.
Those points are going to kind of, like, you're going to get a fair bang for your buck, I think, in this one.
Yeah, I think so. So one thing I haven't really thought about or looked up, is all the battles we've done so far in the new edition have been scenario-based.
Yeah.
If we were building this list now, when you look at profiles of actual models in the book, it doesn't list what level of hero they are, right?
No.
It doesn't say hero of legend or fortitude or whatever. It does, however, say it on the composition section. So it has heroes of legend here, list the heroes of legend, heroes of valor, so on and so forth. Are they still only capable of running certain warband sizes?
I'd assume so, yeah. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any point having them like that.
So in this list, if you were doing a 700-point tournament and you had Eomer, you couldn't. You have to have more than just Eomer and other riders, right?
We'd have to have some captains as well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I suppose captains are almost more important in this version of list building.
Yeah, especially with a lot of heroes becoming more expensive. I feel like there's going to be a lot less hero-heavy lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those captains are going to become a lot more important.
Yeah. It's just confusing to me that it doesn't state what level of heroes are on their profiles. You know, it only states it here and then doesn't specify that they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be in a paragraph in the rule book, but yeah. Never really thought about it until just now. Thinking out loud. Next up then, we have another variation on a Rohan riders list, this one being Riders of Theoden. This was a hugely popular one in the previous edition. When this Legion came out, it was meta, it was winning a lot. It was very, very popular. Over to you.
Okay, so for this one, we, of course, have Theoden, who your army must contain as general. And again, your Riders of Rohan are not counting towards your bow limit. But along with Theoden, you can have Eomer, Eowyn, Gamling, and then captains and riders along with Royal Guard. So pretty much most of what you would take in a Rohirrim-based list anyway. But as for the special rules for this one, again, we get the +1 strength on the turn in which they charge. And then we get Death, which is once per game at the start of any fight phase, Theoden can use this special rule so long as he is alive and on the battlefield. Kind of makes sense. If he does, then each friendly Rohan hero within 12 inches of Theoden can declare a free heroic combat or a free heroic strike, if able, during the declare heroic action step. This is treated as an active ability belonging to Theoden. That is so handy. Obviously, strike is only if they are able to anyway, but even if it's just everyone can do a free heroic combat, that can be a massive battle-changing turn.
Yeah.
And along with this, we've got 4th Eolingus, which is friendly cavalry models within 3 inches of either Theoden or Eomer gain the dominant 2 special rule. Again, very, very handy in this edition now.
We haven't had a moment in a game that we've played yet that's had to...
No, we haven't, because we've only done the scenario so far. We haven't had any match play stuff. So yeah.
I'm just checking something real quick based on a comment I just read.
Okay, what was the comment?
Yeah, so Will said, I think it's because they are different heroic tiers in different lists. That makes sense, and you are correct. In all the lists we've seen so far that include Aragorn, he's a hero of valor, and in future lists that we'll get to in a bit, he's a hero of legend.
Is that basically when he becomes king? And he's got Andura
Pretty
and
much,
stuff?
yeah.
So Strider versus Aragorn profile, basically.
Yeah, essentially. Just as an example. But I think that's the case for quite a lot of different ones.
Okay, fair.
Moving on. Okay, now we get to the new stuff. Army of Edoras, which is essentially your standard hammer-hand list. Not really like a specific movie moment list, but more generic that era type list.
I guess, yeah. This is like the intro to the movie and just before everything kicks off moment.
Yeah. So your options here are Helm Hammerhand, King of Rohan, with an armoured horse. We don't have a new Helm, like King Helm model yet.
No.
I'm assuming we will get one. So at this point in time, you have to use the old Helm model for this version, which is no longer available.
No.
So if you want to build this list and you don't have the original Helm model already, you're looking at proxies or waiting for the new one to be released.
Yeah.
Which they haven't even announced.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of that.
Yeah.
If you actually want to nitpick. A lot of like, oh, I want to build this. Oh, it's not available anymore. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. And it's a shame because the old Helm model is incredible.
Yeah, it's a great model. Anyway, that was your hero legend. Heroes of Valor, we have Haleth, Hammer, and Freyolaf. Another model that's not been announced yet. So again, if you want to use him and build this list, you can't. Heroes of Fortitude, we have Hera, daughter of Helm, Olwyn, shield maiden of Rohan, captain of Rohan. Then minor hero, we have Leaf, page of Helm, warriors of Rohan, and riders of Rohan. Now, this is actually the list that I'm going to run in the tournament, I think.
Yep, you go in this
I'm
way.
not 100%, but I'm like 90.
Okay.
So special rules. Riders don't count towards the bow limit. 4th Aerlingus, once per game at the start of any fight phase, your general can use this special rule if they charged in the preceding move phase. If they do, then until the end of the turn, friendly Rohan models within 12 of your general must re-roll all fail to wound rolls when making strikes. Pretty huge. Yes. And Protect the King, when a friendly Rohan model hero charges, until the end of the turn, friendly Rohan warrior models within 6 inches of them will automatically pass all courage tests they are required to take for charging enemies with terror.
Okay.
They're not the best special rules in the book by any stretch.
No.
But I do think Haleth is a really cool hero. I very much like him in the movie and in the game. And for 100 points, he is solid. Hammer for 70 is okay. The question here is whether or not you run Helm in this list. You know, that's the debate, I think.
I think you've got to.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
It's not in mine.
No,
it's
but
not in my tournament list.
If you go in that list, I'd want Helm.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the better version of Helm.
My thought process is we don't have a mounted one. We were missing a part of it.
We have most of it.
Hey,
you've been doing some good sculpting with green stuff
it's
today.
It's true. You guys wait until our next battle report. I did some pretty interesting customizing. Oh god. Moving on, we have Defenders of the Hornburg. This is the Helm Hammerhand War of the Rohirrim thematic movie moment type list. Go for it.
Yes. So we have 2 heroes of legend now. Hera, the Bride of Death, and Helm Hammerhand, Wraith of the Hornburg. So it's the white versions of both of them, the white clothing versions of both of them, along with Olwyn, Shield Maiden, Captains, Leaf, Warriors, and Riders. So the additional rules is basically Helm cannot have any warriors in his warband because this is when he's going out, killing them in the snow. He doesn't take people with him. And as for special rules, you have Defend the Hornburg. So friendly Rohan infantry gain the dominant 2 special rule, which again, for a lot of like match play stuff, that could be huge if they've all got it. A desperate defense. Friendly Rohan infantry warrior models must reroll wound rolls of natural 1s when making strikes. That's an okay rule. I'm not as bothered on it as some people are. But it's another rule anyway. And then finally you've got Frenzy of the King, where at the start of the end phase of a turn in which Helm Hammerhand kills an enemy hero or monster, enemy models within 3 inches of Helm must take a courage test in an order chosen by Helm's controlling player. If the test is failed, the model must move up to its move value directly away from Helm. So yeah, it is quite cool. It's quite focused on Helm, considering you can't have any warriors with Helm. And it does make it hard because you got to think, Hera, Bride of Death, if you take her with a shield, 130 points. Helm is 180 points. That's 310 points for your 2 big heroes, one of which can't have any warriors with them.
Yeah, this was the list I wanted to run. This was the one that was really appealing to me because I love the new Helm model. A lot of people compared him to Santa Claus. It is what it is. I think he's really cool. This moment in the movie was great, but like you say, because he can't take any warriors with him, it becomes a very expensive list very, very quickly. Now, while you're reading that, I just noticed YouTube have released this new thing, which I'm going to put, just for you guys watching, I'm going to put out as just because it's there and it's recommending it to me, but we can now do super chat goals. Now, funny bit of information for you. We've never had a super chat on this channel, so don't even know if they work. But we have like a celebratory thing we can share. Right, so if we hit... The sample is, I feel like I'm blabbing, but the sample here is, the goal is 10 super chats, and if we reach the 10 super chats, we will celebrate by sharing some very exciting secret news with you. Start goal. Does this work? You were like talking, and then there was a thing going, start a goal, and I was like, what?
I'm going to guess I know what the secret news is.
Oh yeah, I should have probably. Yeah. we might have some exciting news that we can potentially share with you. But this is just a fun way to do it. Yeah, very cool. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So Defenders of the Hornburg, they're all right. I mean, yeah, I think if I was going to be doing Rohan, I would still be like leaning towards the Lord of the Rings Rohan rather than the new stuff.
I'm just a bit like, ooh, shiny new toys.
Yeah, I like I like Freylaf, and maybe something more around him would be more tempting to me. But there's not even a model for that yet, so I'm kind of stuck on that side as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
Tabletop Laboratory says, love your live streams, keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay. I didn't even think how many lists we're actually trying to get through today.
Well, the thing is, we're better off staying for longer because we've got 10 super chats to wait for. Otherwise, we can't share our secret news.
Might be about.
Oh, we got one!
Oh,
JP!
Hey!
$1. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. Okay, 9 more to go.
Okay. On to you.
We're out of Rohan now.
Finally
out of Rohan. Moving on to the Gondorian lists. But before we move on, let's take a second to thank our second sponsor.
If you want to grab some miniatures to add some extra spice to your armies like we do, then check out Forgemaster Miniatures. It's no secret that building armies can be pretty expensive, but that's only really if you're using official models. Not only does using proxies give your armies more variety and makes them unique, but it also makes them extremely affordable. Forgemaster genuinely print the nicest quality minis I have ever used. They are a joy to paint and to play with. You can also make them even cheaper with a massive 15% off with the code TTA15. Link is in the description. Thanks as always to Forgemaster Miniatures.
And we're back.
We are.
Thanks to Forgemaster as always.
Yes.
Commissar, I just read your comment saying apparently it's credit card only. I think that's just a phrase, that how they've worded it. I think it's debit card as well. I'm 99% sure.
Yes.
I've sent super chats to YouTubers before and I don't have a credit card, so yeah. Anyway, Minas Tirith.
Yes.
Now, I like the look of this list straight away.
Yeah, this was one of the first things I was...
Whoa, why is that so... Jack!
Oh dear.
So this one you can see that there's a mix of pretty much everything Minas Tirith. The only difference is the heroes that are available. So we have Denethor.
Yes!
Steward of Gondor. Boromir, Captain of the White Tower. That's a big difference there. Faramir, Captain of Gondor. I love that you can run those together. Eomer, Captain of the Guard, Captain of Minas Tirith, and then Warriors, Knights, and Citadel Guard. And finally, Guard of the Fountain Court.
Yes.
So most Gondor options, really, warrior-wise.
But with the new way of like some of the heroes now, where they have... so I had forgotten the wording, where they can only certain heroes can lead certain warriors. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
I believe it's only Denethor that can have the Guard of the Fountain Court, who are cool models.
Really cool models.
But I don't know many people who are going to want to run Denethor, unless for a bit of fun, which is a shame on those.
It is a shame. Citadel Guard and Eomer, though, I do really, really like. And we've actually just purchased some.
Yeah, we really want to get Eomer, but he's another one of these that's just suddenly out of stock and we just can't get at the moment, which is really annoying.
Yeah, because everybody wants to use Denethor. Anyway, rules. If your army includes Denethor, then he must be your general. So you don't have to take him, which is nice. Do you think the eyes of the White Tower are blind, which is once per game during the priority phase, but before the roll for priority, Denethor can use this rule as long as he's alive and on the battlefield. If he does, Denethor's controlling player automatically wins the roll to choose who has priority. If both sides have a special rule allowing them to do this, and both wish to use it in the same turn, players roll off as normal. So, pretty cool rule. I don't think there's many models that have that rule, so it's very, very rare that there'll be a roll off for it. Is there a captain here who still has the courage to do his lord's will? If your army includes both Faramir and Denethor, then whilst Denethor is alive and on the battlefield, Faramir will automatically pass all courage tests he is required to make. Nice. Additionally, whilst Denethor is alive and is on the battlefield, when Faramir moves, he must charge if he is able to do so. Oof. Interesting. That could be... It could be bad.
Yeah.
Faramir's charge is the next rule. Whilst he has the cavalry keyword, before Faramir charges, make a note of where he begins his activation. Until the end of the turn, friendly Gondor cavalry models, warrior models within 6 inches of Faramir. What? Of where he begins his activation, gain the Feeler special rule. And if they charge, gain a +1 bonus to their fight value. Pretty cool.
Yes. So in terms of that then, just checking, Boromir and Faramir can both have their horses, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I can very much understand why people would be taking Denethor in this list.
Yeah, some nice buffs.
At 50 points, nice buffs. It does give you some extra might, but you don't really want them involved. So
No.
it's kind of depending if are those special rules worth those 50 points to you.
But like Will's just said now, Denethor has 2 points of might in this edition, so he is a bit more useful
Yes.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is kind of your generic Gondor list, just like the generic Rohan one from earlier on, and it's all right.
It kind of makes me sad though that there's not a rule in here that Denethor gives some kind of buff to Boromir. Like,
True.
It's Denethor and Faramir related, but I feel like there should be like, you're the only one I care about rule, and it just does something to Boromir.
Yeah. The favourite son rule.
Or no, something stupid like Denethor can take a point of something off Faramir and give it to Boromir.
Yes, that would have been such a good rule. Yeah.
I'm actually going to take a fight value off you and add it to Boromir.
Yeah, if they're within like 6 inches of each other, Denethor can take Might, Will and Fate from Faramir and you let Boromir use it. I like that. Right, next up then we have the Garrison of Osgiliath, another list I was very, very tempted by.
I can see you running this at some point. For sure.
Yeah, I will at some point.
Is this me?
It is you.
It is me. Okay, so our hero of valor is Faramir. Heroes of fortitude, we have Madril, Damrod, captains Frodo and Sam. Independence, Smeagol. Then we can have warriors of Minas Tirith, knights, rangers of Gondor, and Osgiliath veterans. So the rules for this one are: a garrison of Ithilien army must include Faramir, who will be the general. You may only include Sam if you also include Frodo, and you may only include Smeagol if you include Frodo and Sam. And also, Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol may not lead warrior models in this army. So you no longer have to take them, which was the case in the old edition.
Yeah, that's the big change.
But you couldn't just take Sam, which, yeah, I can't see a situation where you would really want to.
No.
But special rules-wise, we have captured by Gondor. So Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol may either be deployed as a single warband with Frodo as a warband's captain or as part of Faramir's warband. Yeah, cool. Faramir's Rangers, where a garrison of Ithilien has a bow limit of 50% rather than 33%. That is big. Although, did it used to be there was no bow limit? Or am I thinking of a different one?
It might have been that there was no bow limit.
Yeah, so that might have been brought down a bit, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I guess in the old one you had to have Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol, so that was a big points amount.
Yeah, very true.
So they might have just like kind of evened out.
And it was always that stopped me taking this list.
Yes.
Because I actually considered running this list in the last tournament, but because I had to have Frodo, Sam, and Gollum, I was like, no point.
Yeah. And then we got experience trackers. So at the start of each game, you may choose either woodland creature or mountain dwellers. Friendly Gondor models gain that special rule for the duration of the game. Yeah, cool. And I think at last we understand one another, Frodo Baggins. At the end of the game, you will score an additional VP for each of Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol that are still alive, or have escaped the battlefield in scenarios where this applies. This can never take your total number of victory points for a scenario above 20. So that is very cool. And I do like that they're bringing VP into it a bit. But if you take the three of them, that's 155 points. Sorry, Jack's dying slowly over there.
Die quicker.
So it's 155 points to take the three of them. Is that worth a potential 3 VP if they survive?
No, it's not, James.
Yeah, so that's... Yeah, I don't see many situations where you're doing that unless there's a reason maybe you want Frodo and the ring to do a certain scenario, but it's very circumstantial, I think, for that to be the effective way to use them.
It really is. We just had another super chat.
Oh.
It's JP again.
Hey.
JP, you're the 2 out of 10. We only have 8 remaining. Get on it, guys. JP says, Hera is the only character in War of the Rohirrim with anime eyes. Really?
I mean, yes, I could definitely, like, she has the whole very anime look.
I've not even thought about this. I want to see now. No, there's all model pictures in here.
Yeah, I can't think if those are... No, that's just Rohan maps and stuff.
That's going to really bug me if that's true.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, it was a movie.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, JP. At the moment, you're on the way to helping us share our news all by yourself.
Okay.
Anyway, big fan of that list.
Yes. Now,
Probably a bigger fan of this one, though.
Yes.
This one, then, hey, is the reclamation of Osgiliath.
The reclaiming of Osgiliath.
Yeah. So this one obviously is when they reclaim Osgiliath.
In the flashback. This
Yeah.
is the extended edition scene,
Yeah.
but just before it.
The best extended edition scene. So we have Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, who has the Banner of Minas Tirith, horse and shield available.
Mm-hmm.
You have Faramir, Captain of Gondor, Madril, Captain of Ithilien, and a General, Captain of Minas Tirith. Then Warriors of Minas Tirith, Knights of Minas Tirith, Rangers of Gondor, and Osgiliath veterans. It's what you'd expect, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
As for the rules, the Reclamation of Osgiliath army must include Boromir, who is always the army's general. Then, remember today, little brother. It's a line from the extended scene. While Boromir and Faramir are within 3 inches of each other, they may spend each other's might, will, and fate points as if they were their own. Oh, brotherly love. The city was once the jewel of our kingdom. Friendly models gain the Mountain Dweller special rule. And finally, for Gondor. Once per game at the start of any fight phase, Boromir can use this special rule so long as he's alive and on the battlefield. If he does, then friendly Gondor warrior models within 6 of Boromir gain +1 to wound when making strikes until the end of the turn. This is treated as an active ability belonging to Boromir.
They're not bad rules, to be fair.
It's good, it's just, I never really like once per game rules.
No, I know what you mean.
There's a lot of rules in this game that do similar that aren't once per game.
Yeah.
So it almost feels a waste, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Will a +1 or would it just a reroll failed wounds once a game? Because that's such a big one.
Yeah.
I think that might be better as a once a game, but
There's a lot in this edition. There's quite a lot of re-rolling ones to wound.
yeah, can't touch on it. I don't think it's that good a rule. I really don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been made to sound better than it is.
Yeah. So this list kind of similar to the Garrison of Ithilien list. Biggest difference being Ithilien, you're getting a lot more shooters. This one, you're probably punching a bit harder.
Well, yeah, you're getting Boromir in this one. So.
No, you get Boromir in this one. Oh no, not this one.
No.
That was the Minas Tirith one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Minas Tirith one you get an armored Faramir. This one you get an Ranger Faramir. That's basically
Yeah.
and no Denethor to ruin the day.
This is another list that I'm very tempted by, and probably one that I will run in the future. All right, Atop the Walls is next. One day he'll get it on time. I'm a big fan of all these pictures, these images that we get with each list, by the way, especially because they're across 2 pages. Very nice.
Okay, so this is obviously defending Minas Tirith atop the wall. Funnily
Really?
enough. Yeah. And this one, you can actually bring in Gandalf the White as your hero of legend, alongside Eomer, captains of Minas Tirith, Peregrine Toot, guard of the Citadel, warriors, knights, Citadel guard, and even a trebuchet, which is something we haven't used anything of before, so that would be fun to do. Basically, you have to include Gandalf the White as the general in this list.
Paul, thanks for the super chat.
Is there a question or anything first, or is it
No,
just support?
just some support.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah, so basically, what was I saying? Yeah, you have to include Gandalf the White as your general, but then as for the special rules, friendly Gondor models within 12 inches of Gandalf automatically pass all courage tests. Very handy. You also get returned to your posts. Friendly Gondor models within range of an objective marker may re-roll to wound rolls of a natural 1 when making shooting attacks or making strikes. That's slightly better because it's shooting and combat, not just one or the other.
Yeah.
And then the final one is send these foul creatures into the abyss. Friendly Gondor models within 12 inches of Gandalf gain the Hatred Mordor special rule. So that's potentially really good or potentially completely useless.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, the way they make this game is they want you to do good versus evil and do these. So you'd want this fight in Mordor, so it's going to be useful. But, you take this to tournaments, you might be lucky to fight Mordor.
It's very true, very true.
Yeah.
I like this list, though.
So do I. I mean, Gandalf is a beast, especially because when he's on Shadowfax, obviously, you got 3 attack Gandalf the White. You could charge, give him 4 attacks. And you can actually put Pippin as a passenger on him as well, which, if I remember right, basically means that he can use some of his might, will, and fate as well. He's got his Staff of Power still at this point, so he's getting his free will anyway. He's just... I know it's like Gandalf the White wasn't the best in the old edition, but he's kind of a bit better now. I just think he's good. He's just very expensive.
Yeah, so expensive. If you're giving me the choice between taking Gandalf the White or Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, I think I'm taking Boromir.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
although, yes,
depends.
Both 200 points.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want to like kit out Boromir for the banner with his horse, then you're looking at 220 points. If you want Gandalf on Shadowfax, that's 225. 250 if you want to add Pippin as well.
Yeah.
But Gandalf can do magic, and magic is just potentially game-changing.
Will B says he also gets an extra attack with Pippin as a passenger. It means he's 5 attacks on the charge.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty savage.
That adds to my point then, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was literally looking at this earlier, like playing with some lists and just thinking how much fun it would be. Because also, Irolas, I feel like, is such a good captain hero.
He's good for the points. Like, is he like 10 points more than a regular captain? 5 points more than a regular captain.
Yeah.
He's considerably better.
Yes.
Yeah, this is again, I'm liking the Gondor lists.
Yeah, this I would be very tempted to run this one if I'm honest at the moment. And depending on the next book that may or may not come out at any time in the future or not, I may end up going towards this.
Yeah, I think that would be a great shout, to be fair. Okay, moving on. We have Return of the King. Nearly, Jack. I can't. It's my placement that's worse than anything. All right, I'm only really showing you guys these so you can get a cool shot of the image along the bottom. So, Return of the King is pretty much as you'd expect. This is the moment where the King of Gondor returns with Narsil reforged as Anduril. So your options are Aragorn, who is now a hero of legend. Legolas, Gimli, the King of the Dead, Herald of the Dead, and Warriors of the Dead. I think we've basically run this list on the channel before.
Yes, we did do a battle with this kind of thing.
It was, because we did our 3 hunters that were beautifully painted up by Rich. So, again, shout out Rich. Okay, let's look at the special rules. It must include Aragorn and the King, but Aragorn's always the general.
Oh, so already you're committing 260 points?
Yeah. Heir of Isildur. Aragorn does not have to pay points for Anduril. That's nice. That's a huge bonus, actually.
Yeah.
He's automatically has this upgrade. It's free. Fight for us and regain your honor. Friendly Dunharrow warrior models within 3 inches of Aragorn gain a bonus of +1 to their fight value. Ooh. That's also very good. 3 inches, not so good. I think the biggest thing that's always let the Army of the Dead down as a viable competitive army is their fight value.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a nice buff in that their movement's been increased
in
this edition as well. They're now 8 inch, which does make sense. But yeah, realistically, if you're within 3 inches, most of the time you're probably also in the same combat as him, in which case you get his fight value anyway, so that's just like, what's the point? So that's a bit, nah.
Yeah, what's funny is their movement has been increased, but riders are the same movement as the foot soldiers.
Are they definitely? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Anyway, Visions of Terror. Whenever the King of the Dead charges into combat after the charge has been completed, he may spend a will point to use this rule. If he does, enemy models within 3 of the King must take a courage test in order to be in an order chosen by the King of the Dead's controlling player. If the test has failed, the model moves up to its move value directly away from the King. Yeah, I mean, I think this is better than it was.
Yeah, if you want to run the Army of the Dead in general, I think having Aragorn with them is just better.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many situations where it would be worth not having him. So as a legion like this, I think it is good.
Yeah, again.
I don't know if you'd ever really bother with Gimli and Legolas in it, if I'm perfectly honest, unless you really...
Although Legolas is a beast this edition.
That is true. He's so much better.
He's probably one of the most buffed heroes in the game this edition, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd take this list, although I do have fun with Army of the Dead sometimes.
I would say, yeah, I had a great time the last time we used Army of the Dead, but it was a very interesting
A really
battle.
unnecessary throwback to our Halloween special there. Thanks, James.
Which probably shouldn't even exist anymore, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we didn't even bother recutting that one. Next up, we have Defenders of the Pelennor. So this is quite a big one. It's essentially everything. In fact, it has an entire page, Jack, dedicated to just what's available, the army composition, which is positive. So, additional rules. Rohan warrior models. Wait, is this your turn? Yes, it is.
Okay, so the additional rules is very simply Rohan warrior models can only be in a Rohan hero warband, Gondor, the same with Gondor heroes, or Gandalf the White, and Dunharrow with a Dunharrow hero, or Aragorn, Legolas, or Gimli. Special rules for that is defend the White. Oh, they only get one special rule, in fact.
Oh.
Defend the White City. Each hero in your army can once per game declare heroic combat for free. Yeah, it's all right. But you can, of course, then have Theoden and Aragorn, not just the sword. The sword doesn't float around. Try that again. Theoden, Aragorn, Gandalf the White, Eomer, Legolas, Gimli, King of the Dead, Eowyn, Gamling, Captains of Rohan, Captains of Minas Tirith, Eolas, Herald of the Dead, Peregrine Toot, Guard of the Citadel, Riders of Rohan, Royal Guard with Horse, Warriors of the Dead, Riders of the Dead, Warriors of Minas Tirith, Knights of Minas Tirith, Citadel Guard, and Trebuchets.
Is that all?
No. Yes, this. Yeah, so...
See, I think with that many heroes available, having all of your heroes able to do a heroic combat for free, I mean, yeah, each hero can do it. So it wouldn't all have to be on the same turn or anything.
No, but it's just once per game. Because in the All of Might, yeah, it's just kind of, it's an additional.
Yeah, I think that's still pretty handy. I like it.
It's not bad. And I guess it's their way of going, look, you can put lots of stuff together in a list. There's from different moments, technically, even though this is kind of the same moment. Your army rules just aren't as good, which is kind of at the beginning how we said they should probably do it if they wanted to do it that way. So
I don't think this is necessarily the best list in here, but I can see it being quite popular purely because it's probably has the most variety. Can you pick knights?
Yeah, I believe
Yes.
that was one of the things I said.
Yeah, so you can
Yes.
you can have Knights of Minas Tirith and Riders of Rohan together, which is cool. I think it's the only list that you can have that.
But you don't really have a good leader for knights. Oh no, Gandalf can have Shadowfax in this one. Sorry, I didn't think he could. Yeah, so
I like it.
it's all right, but yeah, it's one of those, like, you kind of just picking one section of that to run. You're not probably mixing much of it.
Yeah.
And you got to be doing some high points games to make that
Very true.
worthwhile.
Yeah. A lot of these lists purely depend on the points that you're playing under. 500 point, maybe not as viable. By the way, guys, still 7 super chats away from our goal. I really want to hit this because I really want to share the news. But now that we've set a goal, we can't share the news unless it's hit. Okay. Next list is Men of the West. So this one, I think this might have been one that we actually had in our, what we want to see. Is it?
Yeah, I think it was actually.
Yeah, so Men of the West is essentially when they march to the Black Gate. Decent amount of options here, as you'd expect. We have Aragorn, this time King Elisar, Gwaihir, Gandalf the White, Eomer, Legolas, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, Captain of Rohan, Captain of Minas Tirith, Warriors of Minas Tirith, Warriors of Rohan, and Great Eagles. So it's kind of similar to the previous list, but everyone's on foot, and you can have eagles. Which is kind of cool, additional rules then, it must include Aragorn, and he must be the general. If your army includes any cavalry models, then it cannot include any eagle models, and vice versa. But you can't have, you can have Shadowfax, and Aragorn can have a horse. Okay, that's pretty much it though. Random. Once per game at the start, oh, sorry, I missed one. Only Gwaihir can include Great Eagles in his warband, obviously, and Gandalf the White does not have his Staff of Power in this list. Interesting. Once per game at the start of any fight phase, Aragorn can use this special rule so long as he is alive and on the battlefield. If he does, then friendly non-eagle models within 6 of Aragorn get +1 fight value and may re-roll to wound rolls of a natural 1 when making strikes until the end of the turn. It is treated as an active ability belonging to Aragorn. The White Wizard, Gandalf re-rolls a single d6 in any casting rolls he makes. How many things can he cast without his staff?
He just doesn't get a free one.
Oh, okay.
The stack gives you the free will every turn. So.
That makes sense.
And I think, is he 6? No. 6 will? Maybe.
This day we fight. So long as Aragorn is alive and on the battlefield, friendly models automatically pass courage tests. And the final stand, friendly infantry models within 3 inches of a hero gain the dominant 2 special rule. So quite nice special rules in this list, actually. But again, it's one of those where most of the available heroes are quite expensive. But I guess you could just run it with like 4 captains.
Yeah, I suppose you could really. And
why not? You know?
yeah, I mean, if they count as heroes, it's that dominant 2 roll at the end, the final stand. That could be massive. If you've just got captains and a couple of infantry around, then suddenly, like that, you can end up having like 6 for holding an objective, and that means that opponent has to have at least 6 in that same area. So that could be massive for the end of those kind of games.
I did not realise that. What am I doing? No,
I don't know.
I think I'm super chatting ourselves. Stop. There's a time limit for this goal. So there's only 4 minutes left for 7 more super chats. I don't think we're going to do it.
I do not.
The news will stay with us.
Yeah, so yeah, I actually do quite like the sound of this one. I'm not saying it's going to be the best one. I want Aragorn the King to be good.
Yeah.
And I want him to be better than he is.
Well, he's great. He's just very, very expensive.
Yes. I mean, so in this one as well, Gandalf is 200 points. If we go back to like the top of the wall, was it? With him, he was 200 points. So you've lost your Staff of Power, and he's the same points value.
Yeah.
Which is a bit disappointing as well.
That is actually. That feels like they haven't really thought that through.
Yeah, like that. Even if it was just 10 points, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. But,
How many do we have left? A
oh,
lot.
I know. 4?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Double what you thought.
Okay. So,
I'm not sure we're going to have time to do all of evil as well, you know.
I don't think we will. I think we're going to have to leave it at good for today.
Shocking. Okay, well, it just means more content going forward.
Yeah.
Next up, then, we have Numenor. Is it me?
No,
or is
it's
it
me.
It's you.
It's me. It's me.
I've always wanted to run a Numenor list. It's just very, very limited, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, you didn't roll your R's enough for saying that kind of word.
Numenor.
So, for Numenor, can't do it. You can run Elendil Isildur, a captain and warriors. Really fun. One day, might be getting an Arion, perhaps.
One day, but not this day.
So the special rules for these guys are the Blood of Numenor. So friendly Numenor models gain the resistance to magic special rule whilst within 6 inches of unique Numenor hero models. They have the resolve of men. Friendly Numenor models gain a bonus of +1 to any courage test they have to take. And the Line of Kings, if they have the unique keyword, your general gains General Hunter special rule. Additionally, your general must always accept a heroic challenge directed at them. I would like this to be so much better.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know how often you'd run just a Numenor list like this and not run the Last Alliance one.
Yeah.
Which we kind of haven't got to yet, so we'll have to
Yeah.
But I think when we get to it, you'll see why. There's not much there in those special rules that makes me feel that that's worth doing.
No, I agree. By the way, guys, 1 minute 40 left to hit the goal. It's news that you want, trust me. I think.
But you'll never know.
You'll never know now, sadly.
Yeah.
Quick, $1, everyone go! Lindon is up next then. Essentially Rivendell, right?
Plus Theoden, isn't it? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So, this one consists of Gil-galad, Elrond, Theoden, Rivendell Captain, then Rivendell Warriors and Rivendell Knights. Pretty basic.
Yep.
Oh god, the special rules in Elvish. Tangado Hythe Lythio if Leto Filen. Shoot your arrows. Whilst within 3 inches of a friendly hero, friendly warrior models may reroll, fail to hit rolls when making a shooting attack, providing they didn't move in the preceding move phase. The power of Noldor, friendly models within 6 of Gil-galad gain the resistance to magic special rule.
Yeah.
Really nothing special about this list.
No, again, like one of the other lists I very much was looking at was a Gil-galad related one, although admittedly Gil-galad is now worse. And again, I feel like a Last Alliance version of that is just a bit better, although you can't take knights. But you know, we'll get to it.
But then this is just Rivendell, so...
Yep, so this is just your standard Rivendell now for more Lord of the Ringsy time. So you can have Elrond, Arwen, Lindia, Rivendell captains, Bilbo Baggins, the Aged Hobbit, just who you want in this list, with some knights and warriors as well. So with this one, you must include Elrond, who... Oh, sorry, no, that is wrong. If you include Elrond, knights do not count towards your army's bow limit, which, yeah, that's very handy. The protection of Imladris is friendly models gain a +1 to any courage test they are required to take. Defensive stance is friendly elf warriors may reroll to wound rolls of natural 1s when making strikes, so long as they didn't move during the move phase. I think that sucks, if I'm honest. Invoke the Bruinin. So once per game, so long as either Alrond or Arwen are alive on the battlefield, you may use this special rule at the start of any move phase in which your army is broken. Place a 25mm marker anywhere within 12 inches and line of sight of Alrond or Arwen, and then roll a d6 for each enemy model within 3 inches of that marker. If the roll is equal to or over the strength of that model, or is a natural 6, then the model immediately suffers a strength 4 hit, and if it survives, will be knocked prone. Remove the marker after every affected enemy model has been rolled for.
Yeah.
Got there in the end.
I feel like this is... it's got a lot more special rules than the Lindon one. I guess if you don't want to take Gil-galad or Círdan, there's no reason to take Lindon over this.
These elf ones just don't do a lot for me.
I thought you were considering Lindon though, right?
No, Last Alliance.
Oh, okay.
We'll see when we get to it. They just, I really want to run an Elven army of some sort at some point, but the way they've done it now, it doesn't.
Which is funny, because I want to run an Uruk army at some point. So we're swapping what we did for the tournament. Anyway, the Last Alliance. This is one that you definitely considered. This is the best of both worlds between Numenor and Lindon, obviously. Options are Elendil, High King of Gondor and Arnor, Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor, Isildur, Prince of Numenor, Elrond, Master of Rivendell. What?
I yawned and he cut back to me.
Captain of Numenor, Rivendell, Captain, Warrior of Numenor, Rivendell, Warrior. Obvious rules like Rivendell have to be, led by Rivendell Warriors, blah, blah, blah. Will of Steel. Whenever a friendly Rivendell infantry model that is not engaged in combat is charged, they may roll a d6. On a natural 6, the model that charged them immediately suffers a wound. If this model was a cavalry model, roll a further d6, and on a 1 to 3, it'll be the mount that suffers the wound, on a 4+, it'll be the rider. This is considered an active ability. That's huge.
It is. And I don't know why. I find it weird that you rolled the wound before you see which one it wounds.
Yeah.
Because it feels backwards. But,
Yeah. Friendly models may re-roll any dice that roll a 1 when making courage tests. Yeah.
That could be huge for when you break, to be fair.
Yeah, it could, yeah. Whilst being supported by or supporting a friendly Rivendell model, friendly Numenor models may re-roll to wound rolls of natural 1s when making strikes. Again, these natural 1 things aren't the best additional rules, but they do make a difference over the course of a game.
So the reason I was thinking this over any of the others is, again, I just love Gil-galad in the lore.
Yeah.
So I kind of, in my head, I just want to run him. I had wanted to run him mounted, but that's now not an option. But it's that one of when you get charged, you can potentially just wound them, I think is great. And especially for an Elven army with such high courage, realistically, if you're going to fail a courage test with an elf, you're probably rolling a 1.
Yeah.
And the fact you can then re-roll that 1 means it's actually very hard for them to run away. Very hard. So I feel like this works better than any of the other ones for how... The only thing you can't get is mounted. So you couldn't get any knights, which is... You kind of have to, you accept that.
Yeah. Love and Wargame said, will you also cover the armies of the Hobbit? Cannot wait to find out what changed from my Iron Hills. Yes, definitely. That will be next... Oh, I'm saying that.
No, I think Evil's next week now, and that, and...
We'll probably be able to do both of the Hobbit ones in one video, because there's not many.
Yeah, there's a lot less of them, to be fair.
But yeah, we definitely will. It'll be this year.
Maybe.
Possibly.
It should be. We're very close to the end of the year already, actually.
Yeah, true. Also, I've reset the goal, guys. It's now, we just need 5. So a total of 8. We've had 3 already. That's doable, right? We've got 25 minutes to hit 5 super chats. They can be any price. I want to share this news. We've got a couple left. Ooh, Lothlorien. Roll your R's, James.
I don't even get how you do it. I don't get it. It's witchcraft.
It's vibrations.
That would get you burned 100 years ago. Burned at the stake. 100 years ago? Is that a bit too recent?
Anyway, Galadriel, Lady of Lothlorien. Did I say we're doing Lothlorien? We are.
Okay.
Celeborn, Lord of Lothlorien, even though most modern Lord of the Rings fans don't even know that they're together, you know?
Oh, Sauron, Lord of Lothlorien. Ha ha ha.
Haldir, Galadrim Captain, Galadrim Captain, Lothlorien Captain, Galadrim Warrior, Lothlorien Warrior. I realise I should be saying Galathrim, right?
Yeah.
That's how it should be pronounced. But, you know. They say a great sorceress lives in these woods. Friendly Lothlorien models gain resistance to magic special rule. You know, yeah, they're resilient. The dwarf breathes so loud we could have shot him in the dark. Great name for a rule. Friendly Lothlorien models may re-roll hit rolls of a 1 when making shooting attacks if the target of the shooting attack is unable to see them due to the effects of an elven cloak. Not the best rules.
No, I think they suck.
Yeah.
That's strong. I mean, I know Lothlorien have been a very popular army, and they because of Galadriel and I was going to say the well, the mirror. They are. I don't see the appeal in them.
No,
of
they
the
don't appeal.
Elven factions, they are definitely at the bottom for me.
Which is funny because they're arguably the most competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't appeal to me either.
The Wall of Coal, no. They
Yeah.
just don't do it for me for some reason.
To me, Mirkwood are by far the coolest ones. But yeah, no, not that blown away by that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Fangorn. This was one that, when the leaks started coming out, people were like, oh, the Ent list is amazing. Let's see why.
Yes. So, you can obviously have a hero of legend in Treebeard who can take Merry and Pippin. Then you can have Beech, Bone and Birch Seed as the heroes of Fortitude, and then Ents on top of that as well. Although you must contain Treebeard as your army's general in this list. So, special rules for them. Don't be hasty. Friendly Ent models are completely unaffected by any magical powers that would attempt to move them or prevent them from activating or moving. That's handy. One with the forest. Friendly Ent models are completely unaffected by the Call Winds, Nature's Wrath, Wrath of Bruinin, and Writhing Vine's magical powers. Again, handy. But very specific armies you're coming against at this point is the only thing. Next we have Beech, Oak, Chestnut, Ash. Many have come. Whenever you include an Ent warrior in your army, you may assign them one of the 4 types of Ent to it, as listed below. You must split the types of Ent as evenly as possible. So if you want to have a second of one type of Ent, you must first have one of each of the other types first. If you want to have a third, you must have 2 of each types and so on. Yeah. So Beech means the Ent may reroll to wound rolls of natural 1s when making strikes. Yay. Oak, the Ent improves its wound characteristics to 4. Much better. Chestnut, the Ent gains the Mighty Blow special rule. Love that. And Ash, the Ent improves their shoot value to 3+ and can still use its Throw Stone special rule even if it has moved that turn, though not if it has moved over half, if I can get my words out. Yeah, so for me, that is awesome. In fact, you get a little bit of variety with your Ents. And of those, I feel like the order I would take them is Oak, Chestnut, Ash, then Beech.
Yeah. I just want to say, another super chat from JP. Thank you very much.
Hey.
You're almost hitting this goal by yourself. You said, I guess everyone spent their money on new models. Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame because I really wanted to, I was excited to share the news, which I didn't even think about sharing. And then I saw this goal thing. It felt like a cool idea. Anyway, the Eagles just don't even slightly appeal to me.
Really? I like the Eagles.
Just,
Same as
it's
Fangorn. Like,
2 options. It's so boring.
yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'll probably want to play them once, and then I'll be like, cool. It's
Yeah.
like, I need a fix.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically 3 options: Gwaihir, Great Eagle, and Fledgling Great Eagle. Yeah. Rules are: friendly Eagle models gain a bonus of +1 strength on a turn in which they charge, and once per game at the start of any move phase, Gwaihir can use this special rule as long as he's alive. If he does, then the enemy models within 6 of Gwaihir cannot move during that turn, but may otherwise act normally. I mean, yeah, they're okay special rules. +1 to strength on a charge is always really cool. Mm-hmm. And stopping enemies from moving once per game could be tactically very interesting.
Yeah.
But again, doesn't appeal to me. This is one of the more interesting lists of the game, I think.
Yeah, I feel like nobody's really said anything about this so far.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about everything else, but this one just is ignored. And it is the Realms of Men. So, Yeah, this side. So basically, this is a way to put together a bit of anything and everything that you want. But it just means you can't have any named heroes. So this one's kind of written out a bit differently. So basically it says, writing an army list for the kings of men. So these represent the many kings and rulers that the race of men have had over the ages, and as such they do not fit into any of the standard army lists presented within this game. Instead they form their own army list referred to as the Realms of Men. So basically what you do is you take kings of men as heroes of legend, and they can include warrior models in their warband from any army list. But this basically means you have to separate them, so you could choose them as a Gondor one, a Rohan one, an Arnor one, a Dale one, or a Numenor one. And yeah, you can basically have a warband of them within it. I will just double check. You can mix them, can't you?
I don't see why not. I mean, not have two kings of men with the same...
So you can't have two with the same faction keyword?
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can have multiple with different factions. Okay, yeah, cool. Just making sure I hadn't assumed that and I had actually read it. Yeah, so it's just a way, if you want, you could just have some... Okay, so there's only certain ones? So, when you add a king of men to your army list, you may choose one of the following. So Gondor... Oh, so this model can contain leader of Citadel Guard, leader of Garden of the Fountain Court, and Shield Wall special rules. Additionally, it increases might points to 3. So it's actually really cool in the fact it gives you that chance to have like the Citadel Guards and the Guards of the Fountain Court, which are very specific to certain heroes otherwise. For Rohan, they gain Expert Rider, Horse Lord, and Royal Guard Leader special rules. The Arnor one gains Fearless, as well as increasing its attacks to 3. Dale has a standfast of 12 inches, and will affect Dale hero models as well. Additionally, this model increases its wounds to 3. And finally, the Numenor one gains resistant to magic and increases its strength to 5.
I like this.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. It's a fun way of building a list, and I think if you're coming up against this list in tournaments, everyone's probably going to be different.
Yeah, I get the feeling this could end up quite a popular one competitively.
Yeah.
Like if we kind of cut to that a minute. There we go. You can kind of see that like these kings can take horses, and they can also have all like the good extra stuff with them. And because you kind of get the models like this, obviously for one, you could just proxy, use captains, you can use anything you want and have some really cool stuff as these. But you could also technically get these and paint them up in the right color schemes for those armies.
Yeah.
They would blend in absolutely fine. They're just not going to be your named characters you know from the movies. That's all it is.
Part of me likes that.
Yeah.
I would definitely call mine like Jake and James and stuff. King Jake. I like the sound of that. Someone's just said, Evil Stasiu. Good list, mix Gondor and Numenor, and you have a shield wall, F5, S4 front line. Yeah, I really like it. I could definitely see myself experimenting with that at some point.
Yeah, I'm a massive... Because you can just take anything from it. So you can have your knights, you can have your riders.
Yeah.
You can have mounted heroes with it. Especially, if you're taking the Numenor one as a king of Numenor, okay, 75 points, yes. But giving him a horse and a lance or something like that, it's getting him to about 100 points. But he's going to have 2 might, 2 will, 2 fate, strength 5. Like, it's not bad at all.
No, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a strong list.
And each of these as well, should also mention, heroically, they get March, Resolve, and Strike. So, standardly, their fight values of 6. So, to be honest, if you were getting a fight value 6, Rohan hero, that's very good.
And 75 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, savage.
We're going to be doing a few of these, I think.
Yeah, and we literally, when they put them out for the Angmar supplement, Rise of Angmar, we bought a load of them.
Yeah.
We haven't painted them.
No.
But we did buy a load. We did a couple of super chats during that though.
Oh.
Remus, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And Tabletop Laboratories, again, really, really appreciate you. We need 2 more. 2 more.
Did you time limit this one?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay.
There's balloons on screen. Wow. Will did say anyone else waiting until the last super chat to swoop and claim the glory. But JP did say having the first one is good for me. Yeah, JP, you will always be our first ever super chatter on this channel.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Okay, so just to confirm as well, that is the last one.
It is. What is your favourite list out of those?
Oh, that's tough.
Doesn't necessarily have to be the one that you're going to run for the next tournament.
Part of me, I kind of go in Realms of Men.
It is cool.
I don't know if it's just because there was a few I was disappointed with, and we ended with that, and that. like that makes me feel the most flexibility.
Yeah.
And it is just like, it is the little things like the Citadel Guard and Guards of the Phantom Court stuff, the Royal Guard stuff. Like you can have those extra ones. They're good heroes for their prices. Okay, they don't get like the really cool weapons and those kind of special rules, but because of the points values of them, sometimes that might just be, you might be better off.
Yeah.
It's tough. What about you?
That's definitely probably. It's definitely top 3 for me, I think. Like it's up there. It's one I get that like buzz and excitement about doing. Another super chat, Remus. That means we need one more. Woo!
How long have they got?
They've got about 15 minutes probably.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, but next super chat means we are actually sharing our news, which is crazy. We went from no super chats to potentially 8. What was I saying? Yeah, this is the one that gives me the most buzz, I think, when I think about building a list, because it's different and it's exciting. Also, I've never used a King of Men.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I'd like to give him a good test just to see if, because points value for what they offer, I feel like that's really good.
Yeah, I agree. Apart from that, I'm obviously excited by the new Rohan list based on the movie, just because, again, like shiny new toy, getting to play with Helm and Haleth, who I really, really liked, and Hammer. Even Hera, I'm really excited to use. And Freyalaf when we eventually get a model.
Yes.
I'm also quite excited by the reclamation of Osgiliath.
Yeah.
And what else did I like? The Ithilien garrison one, because being able to use all rangers. Oh, Paul's taking it. Paul's taking the glory.
Go on, Paul.
Amazing. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next week. I'm just kidding. Obviously, we'll share our news.
I thought we were just doing 5 to then say that we actually need 50 before we actually...
Yeah. The news is we need 50 super chats. Yeah. Anything else before we go on to the news then?
Yeah, I say the only other ones I'd add is Last Alliance does look very cool to me. I like the idea of a Fangorn one, but Ents also just, that's just a different minefield.
There's lists in there that I think look and sound good, but don't really excite me.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for some scenario stuff that we'll do on the channel, they'll be fun.
Yeah.
But competitively...
Unfortunately, we can actually buy some new models now that we've had 8 super chats. That will buy us 1 Helm Hammerhand.
After YouTube's cut, maybe not.
True. True.
Okay.
All right. Well,
what is the time? Oh,
yeah.
we've been an hour and a half.
We have. JP says, did it? We did. Thank you very much, guys. Laura, what's up? Got here about an hour in. Hard to get up early when kiddos are on a winter break. I bet, yeah. Although I don't think my son's ever woken up later than like 6 a.m. So, all right. So our news then, the moment you've all been waiting for from about halfway through this when we decided to do the goal. It looks like, I'll be honest, this is mostly going to be exciting for UK viewers.
Yeah.
But in terms of content, probably also great for elsewhere too. It's almost guaranteed at this point. We are literally waiting on a confirmation email at the moment, and I was hoping it was going to come through during this stream. Yeah. It hasn't, but it's very likely that we have a new premise. Another one. So we have here, we have the shop, we have the gym. This place is close to our gym, and the idea behind it is to, once again, move our studio. Yeah. But landlord doesn't know yet. Move our office and studio there. It's 2 floors. The other thing we want to have is, can we remember exactly how many? About 30 to 32 tables for a purpose-built UK hub and base for Middle-earth strategy battle game. Yes. This means we'll be having an official MESBG club for Wales. It means we'll be running huge tournaments every few months with up to 64 players. A lot of these will be GBHL registered, so for those of you that are competitive, you've got somewhere you know you can come and play and hang out and chill with like-minded people. We'll also be selling and stocking MESBG and Warhammer. Yeah, and the ideas we have for how we are decorating the inside are insane.
Yes. I mean, there's a long way to go.
There's a long way to go.
So it isn't like expect an announcement of it opening next week or anything like that. But as you guys are here, you're with us live.
And you paid for it.
Yeah. It's only fair you get the news first before we even know what's going on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm almost kind of proud that we're doing this because there's been other YouTubers out there that have done similar and have gone on a massive fundraising campaign and funded hundreds of thousands of pounds to do very similar. And we're just going, you know what?
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. We're not going to ask you guys to pay for it because unless you live local, it really doesn't benefit you that much. But I think for the game, for the hobby of wargaming in general, I think it could be great.
Yeah.
And also for content, it's also going to be huge. Imagine you get to see regular MESBG content inside the hub in the UK that's literally purpose-built for this game.
Yeah.
It will also be usable for 40k as well. If we could show you our new table right now, I would, but we have new purpose-built tables.
Yes.
That weren't cheap. We have one in the studio right now. We've done our most recent battle report on it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Lovely height, built to measure, even has a big shelf underneath for terrain and battle mats and all that. We're going to have 30 of those. Yeah. In the new premise. So yeah, it's a really, really exciting time. Hopefully it was news that was exciting for you guys and worth paying the super chats for as well. Let's look at the chat.
Okay.
Laura says, Jake, wait till your son's a teenager. It's bad enough now. Will says, whoop whoop. Paul says, awesome stuff. Shame I'm working in Abergavenny from Feb. Wait, Abergavenny, isn't that where Will is?
That's 5 minutes away. We'll be fine.
Plus, I don't think we'll be open by then. That's probably when we'll be getting it. And then there's a big process to get it going. Oh, yeah. Will says, I'm here for you, Paul. Will it also be beard central? Well, yeah. You can't come in unless you have a beard. So, Laura, I hope you've started growing yours.
Don't worry, we'll sell them at the door.
Stick on one. Yeah. All right. That's pretty much it for the news. As for the coming weeks on the channel, because obviously we have a Christmas break, it's the only time of year that we have off. So we're trying to pre-record a load of stuff for you guys. We've obviously got the other Lord of the Rings army to do, the evil side. We've got the Hobbit book to go through. We've got one battle report that was filmed today. Another battle report we're filming tomorrow. Hopefully they can both get done, and that's your Christmas schedule. Yeah.
And then we come back whatever date, week it is in January.
Yeah.
I can't even think when,
For our weekly lives.
Yes.
I think that's it. Also, we put out that Learn to Play last week. So if you want to get into the game, if you don't actually know the rules, we did do a basics, how to get into and how to play MESBG for this edition. Check that out. It has been one of our most popular videos on this channel so far, so thank you very much for everyone that's watched and liked and commented. It's really cool because a lot of work went into that. But yeah, that's it. Remus, almost a reason to move country. At least to visit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to plan a trip. We're going to be hosting, so we've been discussing this today, a league, right? Where every month there's an event and you tally up points for your league, and at the end there's big prizes. It's really exciting. Really, really exciting.
Maybe one day we'll have to get all the tables, put them together, and do the biggest battle you've ever seen.
We could do to scale Pelennor Fields. To scale, I mean we'll match the numbers.
We'll have
Keep
to build
super chatting and we'll do it.
We'll have to build it to go upstairs for the tiers of Minas Tirith.
Yes. I think for our next live stream, we should set another super chat goal. But the goal, if we hit it, it should be, we'll do a 100,000 model, but something stupid. It's going to be a big goal.
Yeah. That's scary thought.
We'll do something cool like that, though.
Yeah.
Karim, sorry. Big fan of your channel, always happy to see your content. I'm always happy to see you chatting. Thank you very much, really appreciate it. All right, anything to add, James?
I don't think so. I think that kind of covers everything that we have going on.
It does. There's a lot more going on, but just for this channel, that's what's going on. It's been so much fun hanging out with all you guys, as always, today. We really appreciate the community that's being built here. Obviously, if you want more content, then we upload exclusive stuff on our Patreon. Check that out, as well as, obviously, being a channel member here. It also gives you access to our Discord. So if you want to join an ever-growing community of MESBG fans, then that's the place to be.
In fact, with everything that's going on, maybe there'll be some photos in the Discord, little updates as we go. So got to be in there to see them.
Yep. It's like $1 a month.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. All right, guys. If we don't see you live before, have a fantastic Christmas. Have a fantastic New Year. Can't wait to chat to you next time. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you next time on the Tabletop Alliance.
Bye, guys.